Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. I'm going to be honest here. I always am. I'm not 100% sure what we're talking about today. And I've been in this situation where I'm unfamiliar. Sometimes I'm about 80% sure, 150%. I'm probably about 20% sure of what we're talking about today. But I believe, based on previous conversations with him, it's going to be a game changer. He is somebody that wants to help you heal many different modalities, one of them being acupuncture, but also spiritual mental health coach. And he's provided me and many of us with a lot of interesting insight. And he joins us once again. Chris Distefano is back. How are you today?
Doing great, Steve. How about you? Good.
And this is picking up from a conversation we had just randomly talking about geese. Yes, the birds, if you will, that you see at the park, and they're just walking around. They flap their wings. They're big. They're kind of bulky. But that's all I know. We're talking about geese today, and I don't know how that connects with helping us heal. But, I take the ball and throw it back to him now.
So it's really funny. Part of what I want to get to today is talking about the whole victim story and how people associate so much with it and literally destroy their reality. They destroy how they think, they destroy how they feel, they destroy their bodies by wallowing in that I have been harmed and the world is against me type of mentality. And yesterday was an absolutely amazing day in so many ways. There's a woman, it's funny, she's an acupuncture patient who I'd worked with, and all of her pain basically is because stress, and the stress is because of the way she processes the world. I literally, because I care and I know her, I said, listen, you got to come in for coaching. She says, no, I've already done therapy. I've done this, that, the other thing. And I'm like, I'm going to just give you a great rate, and I'm going to give you something I don't give. You do 3 sessions. Gave her a great price. And I said, if you're not satisfied, I give it all back. 100%. Now she's sending her son to me after the 3rd session. We didn't even need the 3rd. And this is after years of therapy. Why? Because it gets outside the box. Now let's get to geese. We've all seen them. They're all over the place. It ties in, I promise. And they are absolutely kind of annoying if you want to see them that way. But I saw them on the side of the road yesterday, the 2 parent geese just watching as their little babies, those fuzzy little guys, are just walking along the grass, and they're keeping that eye out. And this morning,
I know exactly what you're talking about. I just see the visual of that. And it's interesting. The little babies that follow the little chicks, they're a completely different color. They sometimes they're even a light yellow, but geese are not. Yes. So they're more of like brown and black. And yes, they can be annoying but you're in their area, and that's when they are annoying. Aside from the geese poop, we can't ignore that. Yes. Sometimes it can be challenging walking in a park.
Yeah, but I'm going to knock us up a level. So if you want to see something insane, you look up the barnacle goose. They throw their babies off a cliff, and you see these things bouncing. It's absolutely nuts. But I digress. So I see them this morning also. I look out, and there's the geese with their babies swimming in the river. It's the cutest thing in the world. But here's the thing with a goose. What is it, like 12 pounds on a heavy day? I don't know. It's got a duck bill. It doesn't even have a pointed bill. It's got these goofy webbed feet that are super functional for what it does, but those are not talons. Meanwhile, don't tell the goose that. There's that video of the goose standing up to a tiger. There's the videos of the goose standing up to a hawk. The goose will stand up to whatever, to a bear. It doesn't matter, because the goose does not take no for an answer. The goose knows in its heart, I'm not taking any of this mess. The goose defines itself. Despite its limitations, because of its limitations, it sets the rules. And it doesn't let the world, you see, because I'm looking at my own patterns. The seeking of validation and approval is an absolutely toxic pattern, because I'll put something out, and whether or not someone responds to it, but what if that person is out of their mind? What if that person is just sitting there and wallowing in self-pity? They're going to just take that negative spin. And if I'm going to define my presence, my ideas, my actions, my capacity on what could really only be defined as a person who's suffering from mental illness, who is delusional because of the way they view themselves in the world, then I'm crazy. Then I'm stabbing myself. And that goose doesn't take any of that mess. It'll go after. I have a patient. This guy's awesome. He pulled a knife on a goose. The thing was coming right after him. He was losing his mind.
My signature move when geese goose are coming at you, and again, you're in their domain, so you can't blame them whatsoever. You're walking by a lake and they coming at you. I just stand there and I put my foot up like this. I don't do anything. But this in their face, they're like, whoa, wait a minute. There's something there. I got to be careful about that. But yes, to your point, they'll stand up to anything. And I don't know many other creatures that will do that. Funny you should say this, because I was talking with somebody last night and they said, what song represents you? Actually, a bunch of people, we went around the room. And the song that I keep close to me and I need to adhere to it more, and it's exactly what you're talking about. This is last night, is Tom Petty, I Won't Back Down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. And I kind of feel that way, but I need to remember those lyrics like the geese does. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's what have you set for your life? What boundaries have you set? What goals have you set? Where are you going with that? Are you going to back down?
Exactly. And where are you connecting to yourself in your heart? Because this is coming from that inner truth. This is coming from how we define ourselves. Because I could set a goal that I'm going to go out and beat someone up or something ridiculous like that. That's not a true goal. That's not an authenticity. That's coming from impulsivity. That's coming from places that are not my purpose, but coming from the purpose, coming from that strength within. And this goes right into the victim story, because when someone walks around, and this is a ton of what I do in coaching. I was coaching another person yesterday, and it was amazing because she's at a higher level of consciousness. We were having a conversation earlier, and she's at a higher level of consciousness than she gave herself credit for, and she wants to have better clairvoyance. And we were talking about that a little bit earlier. And during the session, she's like, to get something, I have to earn it. It has to come through hard work. But during our conversation earlier, you see what happens is when our vibration, another word would be our mental state, raises into more joy and peace and love, we're more attentive. You see, as a vibration, it's faster. Faster means higher resolution. That's how physics works. The faster is the higher resolution.
How do you define resolution? Just want to make sure we're all clear.
Resolution would be more clear at the more detailed levels. The more subtle can be picked up. Because if you have 2 cycles per second, you're going to have 2 peaks in that second giving you feedback. If you have 1,000 cycles per second, you have 1,000 peaks. So you can pick up the small object. If you only have 2 peaks, you have this giant trough. So if an object is as big as my fist, it won't get picked up because it's not a high enough resolution. If you want to use like sound, sonar, that type of stuff, the higher the pitch, the more fine detail one can pick up.
Well, isn't that because it's a higher vibration?
Well, yes, exactly. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Steve. So at that higher vibration, we can pick up more. And what happens is at the lower vibrations, what we tend to respond to. So this is basically all of us in this culture. We start off, we are blockheads. We are conditioned to believe stuff that is absolute nonsense. And so we don't pay attention. We basically believe strictly in the physical. And if anyone ever wants to debate me, I would love to. But being in that limitation, the rational mind and the reductionist mind is going to hold that very easily. But it's not all the truth. It's half the truth. And if we neglect the other half, we're handicapping ourselves. We're running a race on one leg, and the race being life. So at that lower vibration of being miserable, unhappy, whatever, we're not going to pick up the subtle. So the way we get redirected by the greater forces, or whatever we want to call it, is going to be through pain. Because we're not paying attention, because we don't even know there's something to pay attention to. So it's going to be bad events in our life, negative health consequences, whatever it is, it's going to be through pain. So it becomes pain avoidance. Now, as we get to the higher vibration, we're able to pick up on the more subtle cues because we know they're there and we're paying attention. And we're starting to live, I say, in the dance with reality, because reality is a feedback loop with us. It is part of the living organism. It is intelligence. And I stand by that. Again, I could prove that. And so at that higher level, it's what I call pleasure seeking, but not in the hedonistic way, but rather in the reward way. So the hedonistic way, pleasure seeking, go out, do lots of drugs and party, whatever. That's like eating candy to get full. This is like sitting down and having a 5-course meal of nourishment, this type of pleasure seeking, because this is when you do something awesome and you just feel so good. Our bodies love that because that's our truth. So the old belief, as I'm coaching her, we went through that. The old belief, and that tied into our conversation of everything has to be hard, was constricting and restricting her ability in life in all these facets to be able to receive with grace. She would put up resistance because she hadn't, air quotes, earned it. She hadn't given herself permission. And when she was able to see through that and to receive love, trust, understanding, and whatever, and the gifts that life has to bestow, it was such an incredible transformation. And this all happened. This was a short session. It was like 35 minutes. It's an advanced class I'm taking, and my instructor was like, I can't believe you did all of that in 35 minutes, but it was all her. She was there. She was open and receptive to be able to do this. And it was just stepping out of that victim story, stepping out of that cause and effect, stepping out of the strict rules that we've given ourselves that, oh, I have to do this to get that, or I am defined as this because of what happened to me. That's all nonsense. You define yourself in the moment because what you are is beyond definition. You are what you decide to be, like that goose. The goose does not care that he has a little duck bill. He'll go after you with the ferocity of a tiger.
When you said, and I love all this, it's almost as if Chris is giving us permission to live a good life because the chains are coming off. When you talk about the feedback loop, I think that's how you referred to it, where it's almost as if it's like checks and balances. What you put out there is coming back to you as you analyze it. You know, where am I in life here? You know, why haven't these things shown up that I feel I deserve? If you're questioning that, what's your answer to somebody?
So it's a feedback loop. Here's the coolest thing. It's a mirror. That's another way of putting it. And at the higher vibrations, the feedback loop is a lot faster. It bounces back almost immediately. At the lower ones, it's slower because again, let's say it takes 10,000 cycles. So at the higher ones, you run through 10,000 cycles in a minute. At the lower ones, it takes a year because it's that much slower. And those again are how we're interacting with the world. What do I tell someone? I say, why do you believe that? And they'll tell me a victim story and I'll be like, where are you now? And I try to help them see, yes, that happened, but they overcame it. It's a victor story. It's an empowerment when we choose to look at it that way. When we take ownership of who we are, the question ultimately becomes, why did I put this in my own life? What did I need to learn from this? And it's the way I come across is not exactly how I am in coaching. I do have a kind side and I'm very present.
You're passionate. There's nothing wrong with that. You're passionate because we have limited time and you want to make sure the point comes through. I get what you're saying.
But it really is. In the end, it's a choice. How can we choose? What can we learn from where we are? What's the lesson that we put in our place so we can come into who we are? What part, and this is at slightly higher levels, what part of yourself are you doubting and why? What part of your creator, what part of divine intelligence are you doubting? Where's the anxiety? What are you afraid is going to happen? What part of that which is timeless do you not trust?
I'm not going to even say anything. What you just said is what we should be processing and thinking deeply about. Question. Maybe it's some fundamental questions here. When we say to ourselves, and let's assume we are, and I think it's a really good thing. But if you say to yourself, things are going to work out. What I'm thinking, I have a plan for life, business, whatever it is. It's going to happen. I'm feeling it. It's in its own time. Are we telling ourselves a lie there? Or is that really what we should be doing?
Paradox right there, Steve. Paradox. I do not like it. So part of it is this is a consciousness model of reality. It literally is closer to a dream than it is to concrete. And that has to be understood. It doesn't have to be understood, but to really resonate with it, it helps to understand it. So if I can set an intent to go on a vacation to wherever at a certain time and really begin to set that vibration in me, I am imprinting it. Now, if I'm sitting here doing the robotic mantras, whatever that stuff is, like I am Elmer J. Fudd, millionaire, I own a mansion and a yacht, whatever it is, and I keep repeating it, but it's not believable, I'm pushing it away. So that's the key. It has to be somewhere within our realm of what our reality can hold. But what I work on with patients, literally visit one, you come in with low back pain. We're going to have a conversation about where you are in your life, where your stresses are, and how you can handle life. Because once you start getting all worked up, you're going to tighten up your body. You're going to hurt yourself because your body's trying to say, hey, this is the wrong way, Buster. Please stop doing this. And no one listens. They take pills.
And this is what radically makes you different than other healers, because you harness the power of the mind and the power of the body and merge the two of them together. Whether you have to start with one or the other, it eventually connects. You said something before, and I want to put the microscope on it for a second. Are we here to learn lessons?
Again, paradox. The short answer is yes. The slightly deeper answer is we're here to get rid of fake beliefs. So it's almost like we're here to find our way back to ourself, which has always been there and always been true.
But isn't it a shame that why does life have to be that way where, when you were a child, and some say by the time you're 3, it's already basically been formed in you, who you are, how you perceive life. And by the time you get to 6, whoa, in a big way. And now you have so many limiting beliefs that have stacked up. Why does it have to be that way? Why can't we just,
Steve, it's all perfect.
How do you mean?
It's all perfect because I use the video game analogy for this. You have to understand consciousness is consciousness. We create what we are. So everything that's created is a reflection of what we are. It's a mirror. In a video game, are you going to want to play the video game on mellow mode, or are you going to get bored out of your friggin' mind? So then what do you say? You turn it on to Hurt Me Plenty. You turn it on to real mode, where the prizes are better, where the victories, like you got mellow mode going on, you're going to stay an NPC. You're never going to get challenged enough to push yourself into. The unlimited, the divine, never has the opportunity of growth because it's already infinite. Never has the opportunity of a challenge because it's already there. Never gets the opportunity of overcoming fear, of all of those feelings, the gift of limitation. Everyone knows at the higher vibrations, everyone sees it, that what we had thought were our faults and our handicaps are our greatest gift and our asset and our unique frequency and what makes us shine. And it's what we get to offer to the world.
Do you feel that those challenges that we have, call them limiting beliefs, things we've been through, even through childhood, we identified, goes in your subconscious. Do you believe that that's there to really even make us better humans? It's there for a reason. And I don't like to pilot on that. It happens for a reason. I do believe much does. But those things, is it there for the greater good?
And I'm going to have people who say, I suffered through X, Y, and Z, and I'm really sorry for whatever you suffered. I had no control over that, and I have no control over that. This is strictly informational. It's how far you pull back the slingshot. Look, we came up with a game. It's called Pin the Tail of the Donkey. What makes the game fun? Spin around 3 times blindfolded and then try to figure out where that donkey is. So yeah, it's there. It's part of the life path. And now there's parts of this that are even a little nebulous for me, but time is nonlinear. And a lot of people who are very, very amazing say that there are certain resonances. Everything's resonance. There's certain resonances. I guess the way I'd rephrase that for a normal person is there's certain patterns that we come to this plane, this experience, this life to work through or to release. And I've actually had this in a meditation on suicide. Suicide doesn't work because whatever that pattern is so strong that it drives you to end your life. You come back again because the soul can never die. Soul comes back with that pattern still there, perhaps even stronger, and you get to replay the whole thing until you do it right. It's a lot like Groundhog Day in that respect, but just Groundhog life.
I find it fascinating when we speak. I get excited in a weird way Like it's like you look at life differently and you see it in maybe a more exciting way. And what you just said, there is no measurement of time. That's really exciting to hear. I've heard it before, of course, but it kind of frees you in a weird way. I don't know if that makes sense. Because we're all programmed for time. We're time. I don't know if I mentioned the song Ants Marching popped in my head, and I've been fixated on the lyrics. And, it's, of course, Dave Matthews, mid-90s, big song. Where, we live our lives, ants marching. Everything's the same. We all do it the same. But there are lyrics in there that stand out. Take these chances. Place them in a box for a quieter time. Lights down, you up and die. Meaning, take chances. You might not have the opportunity to. And a lot of us, because of this time thing, we worry about time. I don't have time to do that. I don't have time. So I'm going to put it over here. I'm just going to put it over here to the side. And then it's too late. So when I hear you say that there is no time, and I believe that, what is time? The future doesn't exist. Sorry. If you thought it did, it doesn't. Where is it? It doesn't even show me the future right now. Where's the future? There is none.
Yeah. And when we're living in our head in the past and in the future, we're pulling ourselves out of now. The body has the answers. Like in that coaching session, when it got done, my body felt amazing because it was exactly what I was supposed to be doing and giving to another person, and it felt amazing. And we really are. It's following the heart. We've talked about this before. That's where the power is. David Hawkins has a series of books, Power versus Force. Best thing anyone could take a look at if they just want to get a quick primer. Just look at, what the books are about. Because at that higher vibration, when we're following the heart, those higher vibrations, we're playing better with reality. We're listening. We're paying attention. We are attuned, and we're learning through the positive. We're learning through pleasure. We're learning through growth.
On that point, we're just about out of time. We're going to press the pause button. We're going to thank the geese to model ourselves after them. We want to provide a takeaway for today in a sentence, maybe two. What would you say?
Henry Ford said it best. Whether you believe you will succeed or fail, you are right.
That's pretty powerful. Yeah. Wow. This is what you do. You do it with love today, albeit, you're pushing points and it's fantastic. How do we connect with you on the coaching level? Obviously, if it's somebody that needs acupuncture and that kind of attention, you're in Scarsdale, but you can coach anybody anywhere. How do we find you?
Level 3, spelled out, level3coaching.org. And my acupuncture is scarsdalehealth.com. So you can find me either way. If you don't remember one, you can hit the other. Still gets to me. And look forward to, if anyone has any questions or thinks that I'm a little bit out there, I can defend all this.
I can help you with that.
And I really appreciate this, Steve. I really do appreciate you being present there and really just awesome.
It's genuine. These are things I've wondered about, want to validate. And honestly, first thing that pops in my mind here, I'd love to look at time. What is time? There's never enough. You can't buy it. It's so many songs written about it, but we both believe, identifying here, that there is no. How do you measure that? The universe doesn't know time. It's just, it doesn't exist, essentially. One day I'd love to look at that deeper and pick your brain on that one.
Yeah, time is the grandfather. In terms of Tao Te Ching, it would be the Tao that creates the yin and the yang. Time is the grandfather. Even I have a hard time with time. It's beautiful.
Yep. Thanks for being here today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
We'll be right back.
Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.